NAR this, NAR that. If you've been anywhere near real estate or realtors, you've probably heard something about it. But as long as you're not a realtor, you don't actually have to worry about it, right? Actually, no, this affects you, the buyer or seller, just as much as it affects us too. Now, before we go in, this might be a great time to text any of your friends or family in real estate. Hey man, I'm not ready to buy a house yet. I just wanted to check in and let you know that I'm here for you, buddy. Emphasize on, I'm not ready to buy yet. Just for the pure fact that this settlement is the equivalent of the apocalypse for realtors. You know what's coming, some of us did prepare for it, most of us didn't, but hopefully I can clear it up. Not only just for you buyers or sellers out there, but also realtors too. So for some context, the whole lawsuit happened because a group of sellers in Missouri filed a class action against the NAR claiming that they inflated commissions paid by sellers in order to attract buyer's agents on the MLS. So now it is illegal to advertise a commission on the MLS, and buyers are now to negotiate commissions with their respective agents. Now let me re-explain in English. Have you ever been out to dinner with your friends and you all order a variety of dishes? $20 dish for your friend, $10 dish for you, and a few sides and drinks, right? But when the check came, you all placed your cards on the table and split the bill equally. But you were not able to see the price on that bill. And let's say you didn't order a drink. You only got water because you're on a diet. You didn't even touch the side. Since you split the bill, you are still paying for a portion of your friend's food and more than what you ate. And that is exactly how these sellers in Missouri felt, that they were tossed a 5 to 7% commission that varied on the closing price, and they had no idea what they were paying for, especially since it wasn't their own agent. So the settlement that takes place on August 17th, 2024 is pretty much a card split system that allows you to by default pay for what you ordered and be able to see what you're paying for, which emphasizes transparency and fairness. So as a seller, does this mean you never have to pay buyer commission now? Well, you always had an option to negotiate or even in some cases not offer the buyer agent commission. But the biggest change is that your agent can no longer advertise on the MLS. But sellers offering to pay the buyer's agent commission could also help you sell your house faster or even sell for a higher price. So keep an open mind. It will probably still be common practice for sellers to pay buyer agents commissions since they are the one with the equity. But as a buyer, what does this all mean? Well, back then you were able to just call some agent or some of your buddies and say, take me to go see this house. Now you're required to sign a BRBC or a buyer's representation and brokers agreement before you are actually allowed to even see a property. In this agreement, you will now have in writing a rundown on what the agent is obligated to do for you as your agent, but most importantly, their commission. So now you as a buyer are responsible for negotiating their commission. Scary, I know, but now what does this all mean? Do all buyers have to pay their own agents? Not necessarily. There's still an option that if you do not have enough money, you can always let your agent know to include in the offer that the seller is going to cover their commission for you. But if the seller refuses, then you would likely end up having to pay the commission in order to get your house. But the key is not to make home buying harder. There are a plethora of ways to get around this, and that is why you need to find a good agent who has strategies to help you if you don't have it in budget to pay while also getting their commission. So everyone will be happy. Now, regardless of how the buyer's agent will get paid, at the signing of the BRBC and before you see any houses, you need to determine the percentage of commission, which normally is about 2 to 3% in order to look at houses. Now, can you get an agent to show you a house on a 0% commission? Yes, you definitely can. But like the saying goes, you get what you pay for. Obviously, this is always negotiable and only needs to be paid if you find and buy a house with this agent. Now here's the kicker for you buyers out there. Let's say you sign a BRBC with a commission of 3% with your agent, and you put an offer on a house where the seller offered to pay 2.5% commission for the buyer's agent. You're now required to pay that 0.5% or whatever remaining percentage is between your agent to meet that commission, unless waived. But if you also signed a 1.5% to your agent and the seller offered to let's be fun and say 10% commission, because you only signed 1.5%, they are now only allowed to receive 1%. So it's important to talk about this with your realtor to see what you both are willing to do. Now, I am sure there are a few of you out there, sellers and buyers, who are going to take this lawsuit and think of it as a way around an agent's commission. While now that you do have the capacity to, all good agents will still be sticking to our traditional commissions and just simply not work with someone who will not work to accept a reasonable commission. But remember that listing agents are also encouraging their sellers to keep an open mind and to be ready to offer a buyer's agent commission in order to sell their house faster. And as a buyer, you should also keep an open mind to pay a commission to ensure that your agent is going to work diligently for you. And although this does seem a little more complicated, that now you have to sign a contract before you can even attend a showing, just think of it like this. You can now interview your buyer's agent to make sure that not only will you be getting along with them, that they understand your needs, and that if they're even competent. So although yes, you have to go through the dreaded commission talk, you as buyers will finally be able to get a chance to sift out the bad agents from your experience. So now that we know you have to sign a contract before showing properties, what about open houses? Well, now you have to also sign a contract before an open house. So before you are even allowed to enter an open house, you will need to sign one of two forms. The default being the Open House Visitor Non-Agency Disclosure and Sign-In, or OHV NADASI for short, is for open house visitors to sign in and pretty much emphasize that the showing agent does not represent you. Whatever they say to you is for the benefit of the seller, and they have no obligation to keep any of the information you tell them confidential. So on this document, you sign your name, email, phone number, and state if you have an agent or not. The second form is the form you want when you want to become best friends with the realtor. The Property Showing and Representation Agreement, which pretty much states that, hey, I'm looking to buy this house. I want your advice as a professional looking out for my well-being, not anyone else's. Or I want to put in an offer on this property. Now, once you sign this, you are now the agent's main chick. They're going to give you all the advice and strategies on how to get this or any other property because they are now representing you. Now that's if you filled in the compensation field with them too. This form is pretty much like a short-term BRBC, like a summer fling. So I want to know, what are your thoughts about this new NAR settlement, either as a buyer, seller, or fellow realtor? Leave your thoughts in the comment section below to see what others think too. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please feel free to check out my last video on the 7 steps for the home buying process, or follow my Instagram at EthanTranRealtor for more short form content. And lastly, if you like this video, please drop a like and subscribe for more. Feel free to contact me at the details to the side. This has been Ethan, your superstar realtor. Until next time, I'll see you guys around.